Here we are. Welcome
Hi.
again.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for accepting my invites. It's lovely to have you. This is the 12th of our Vadi Talks. And more, I'm hosting sound artists, field recordings like recordists like yourself. And we increase the visibility of women in audio through these interviews. So I'm very excited. So let's start with a general introduction. And you have a lot of hats. You have a background in sound engineering, field recording, music, and you're also a sound artist. So what should I know about you that brought you here and makes you the person you are today?
Um, yeah, um, I I come from a family where music was very important, and I got introduced to sound and recording through music because it was a moment where I was studying in this very traditional music school, and I was not allowed to play certain composers and certain music, and I really wanted to play like music for film because I had the impression it was something that I don't know, it was fitting under my fingers. I was studying piano and like choir and stuff, and I was like, okay, I want to play this kind of musics, and I was forbidden to do it. And so like my father got me like a recorder to keep trace of the music that I was playing. And so I started to record myself and to play with the recording device, and then this wish of doing music for film brought me to cinema. And from cinema, I got interested in recording sound for itself when I was doing like sound editing and stuff. And I was like, okay, we need a lot of sound for that. And so I started to do my own libraries. And it was so nice to work without the picture. And so I got away and away from like from image and picture, like picture and music, and it really became like sound for itself. And but without like the wish of working for radio and everything, it was really like I feel so good when I'm just outside with my microphones, and I just tried to find a way that I can live from that. So those different hats are indeed a way to kind of work in different fields and to allow myself to have different ears. Like sometimes it's the technical ears, sometimes it's the more artistical ears, sometimes it's an ear that is only focusing on like bioacoustic sound and like some like, and I try to find my way in between all of that. And something that was also super important to me was an exchange year that I did in Switzerland in the Master of Transdisciplinary Studies. And it's basically a unique place where you can have, like, in the same class, people coming from theater, mathematics, psychology, cooking, like a lot of different fields. And there I discovered the world of sound studies and acoustic ecology and sound walking and like doing a lot of stuff without any microphones. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool to just listen without mics. And this is now what kind of more that what drove me to sound art and like performances and playing still with microphones, but like to really feel the the effect that sound can bring. So yeah, sorry, it's a very long answer,
No,
but
it's lovely.
it was my way in between all of that. So when I came back to France after I mean after that I spent like 4 years in Switzerland working for film and doing for like this second master part-time. And when I came back, I was like, okay, I really want to dive into my own project and be this in between person between all the fields. And I really like it, actually.
Yeah, yeah. So most of my guests actually like working across disciplines. And it gets like my last guest said, every new area I took brought me to another area. So it's interesting because sound is connected to so many areas. And we're going to talk a lot about, I think, your ecological interest as well in ecological sound. So it's lovely. It's lovely to have such a diverse background and multi interests.
Yeah. But like my first job, like really, was to edit for like sound library, like this super geeky, like very clean sound. And I was working on I work on different libraries for the same person, but one library was to edit like button sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a moment in my life where I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like there was no purpose except of having a good library of different switches and button sounds. And
Yeah.
for me, it was really like a switch. Like I have to give meaning
Yeah.
to what I'm doing and using the skill that I have to purposes that are deeply, like where I feel deeply rooted in. And that's why also, yeah, like more working with environmental sound and like wildlife field recording and all of those terms. For me, it was a way to heal myself from this, very rebarbative job.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I agree. I agree. Okay, so let's touch upon your nature recordings for a bit. So you have some nature libraries you're working on, and you also do your sound art with like waves recording, all kinds of. I think you have this recent work called Dear Phonosan, and it was really interesting for me to actually play back sounds to some of the forests. And so where did that project come from? Where did the idea come from? And how did it evolve to
Yeah.
conclusion?
So this project, Dear Phonosen, it's a sound video, sound installation. And the idea really started of like the industrial forests that were surrounding my parents' home. So it's not far from Lyon, actually. It's in the north of Lyon. And it's a place that I started to know when I was like 16 or 15, something like this. And it kind of, it was this time was overlapping where with the time I was also like learning microphones and like being like learning, my job. And I was just spending a lot of time there, and I was like, man, it's so weird. I'm in the forest, but it doesn't sound like a forest. And it kind of like I had a kind of a aesthetical shock because like monoculture and like intensive wood plantation is a very you see like trees aligned, but like the whole soundscape is completely transformed by the wood industry. And with time and patience and like just spending a lot of time like sitting down and listening, I also discovered some places where you had life, and it was like on the borders of those forests. And after a while, now I have like a 10 years, more than 10 years archive. And I realized that there were some places where I did some recordings that were cut down. Like they got, like just like there was a clear cut in this place. And I was like, okay, there is a form of what is like what we can call solastalgia. So this, I don't know if you know this word, but it's like a word that is describing the sensation of like losing one's home, even though you didn't move. And I really had this sensation, especially with the soundscape, that I started really to understand and like spend time and feel that this place is kind of sick. But I felt also that I had some like a precious documentation of this particular area. And so I wanted to reactivate the soundscape of those places. And of course the idea was not to just go back and like use speakers and do more damage with the species that are around. So this project is a fiction. We didn't really do like proper feedback, like playback actually, but we imagined like what would it be to bring back those sounds of these places. And the installation is about this. It's about the disparition of those soundscape and like how to bring them back. And at that time I was also reading a lot of article from bioacoustics and stuff, and there was this article which got pretty popular about coral reef, where scientists were doing what they call acoustic enrichment. And the idea is to bring like to play back the sound of healthy coral reef in reef that are starting to bleach. And those playbacks are helping the restoration of those reefs. So of course this acoustic enrichment cannot be done alone. Like of course if there is a huge acidification of the oceans, if it's full of plastic, if there is mass fishing industry, deep sea mining, etc., like bringing speakers into one's ocean won't change anything. But at the same time I was like, wow, this is crazy that sound can have such power. And so I wanted kind of to speculate, like, okay, what would it be if I was doing acoustic enrichment in those places? And so the installation is about that, and it's addressing the concept of phonocene, where sound would have as much impact as carbon on our anthropocene. So yeah, it's about thinking sound as a way to take care, or like sound and listening. It's also about like this active listening that we can see in the project. And yeah, the film is about that. And I'm still continuing today in the thesis that I'm doing, to kind of question, like this image we have of like in French we call audio naturalism. So it's like wildlife recording, but we have this term. And I like to think of like, what is it actually to record in places that are post-natural? Like we often have this image of like wildlife field recordists that are going in the opposite side of the earth, like going in Amazon, recording pristine atmospheres of like preserved nature, etc. Most of the time they are guys, taking the planes and then like being pissed because there are lots of plane sounds, and you're like, yeah, but maybe there is way to question this practice as well. And we are always taking down, like cutting off, like planes, car pass by, any noise pollution. Like we are always erasing ourselves from the recordings. And in this project, I was like, okay, let's listen to our surroundings, like in this surrounding next to my home. And it's a forest. It's not a forest. It's a plantation. It's sick. Let's listen to it. Let's find out what the soundscape of this particular place is telling us, and let's not erase ourselves from doing it. Yeah. So the project has picture. I worked with image for this one because it's showing the process of me and 3 other women field recordists going there, activating this soundscape, and being super loud. We have like our boom pole, like the handling noise. We have wind in our microphone, like hitting the capsules. It's like it's bringing all the sounds of performing the act of listening and not trying to be silent for doing it. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, and I read a little bit about this project, and I also saw that term solastalgia in Melissa's interview you did for Earth FM. It's really impressive, and I wondered what. So I have two questions. So one is like, do you see this as a one-time project or something like that's going to evolve and continue throughout the years? And also the people's reactions to these sounds of the damaged or not existing places. What was the reactions like?
So the first reaction, for example, of the people that are living there, like just the neighbors, they were feeling this solastalgia. Like they were feeling that we were, because we did one time like the playback when we thought it was a moment to do it, like with a lot of wind and like without like being super careful of like not disturbing other species and stuff. And they were super like emotional about it because their house was surrounded by a recent clear cut, and so they felt like we were bringing back some life, because in the clear cut you don't hear anything. You have like just wind and like distant sound of roads and like the wood industry, some hunters, like super boring. So so yeah, they felt like this connection was really strong for them. And otherwise it was bringing some question, like I was discussing with Jérôme Sueur, who is a researcher working in ecoacoustics at the Museum of Natural History in France, and we were talking about noise pollution in forests in France. And for example, he's working with his team at the Forêt du Rizou. It's not so far from Geneva, and it's a program where it's a very long-term listening research, where I think it's over 15 years, and now it has been 5 years. And they know that nowadays in more than 80% of all of their recordings, there is a plane in it. And so ecoacoustics, which is kind of the cousin field of everything that we are doing here on a very much smaller scale, this study can bring proof to politics and to, you know, like the gatekeepers of this park, and say like, hey, look, it's a protected area, and nevertheless, like the soundscape is completely destroyed. Should we do something? You know, like it's also bringing those questions into like concrete actions afterwards. But I mean, sound is very I mean, it's really not the priority of most of people, even though it has a real impact on health, like physical health, mental health, the health of other animals than us. You know, we saw like how much it was impacting wildlife communication, but also wildlife health, like just in terms of cardiac thing. I mean, it's crazy. I don't know if I answered your question, but otherwise, this project is. It was kind of a one-time thingy, because now, so my family completely moved out of this area, and I still didn't go back. It's been a year now, and I want to do it, but at the same time, I'm doing the research here in the north of France. It's a lot of things, but I want to go back one day, of course, to compare and to see how it is. But I'm still really keen in listening to post-natural places, and like developing the concept of audio post-naturalism. And so this year I'm dedicating my time to I'm staying with the forests, and I'm listening to places that bird during summer, and how their soundscape is evolving with the regeneration of the soil. And as it's a very fast process, I want to document it in a sonic way. So I'm working in the south of France for this project, and like to think, okay, what is it to listen to a place which has been completely like not destroyed, but like completely damaged by wildlife fires, like wildfires.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, so continuing on that, I'm sure it's different from project to project, but can you also talk a bit about your approach to recording those environments, maybe in this project? Like, so what's your approach? How much preparation do you do beforehand? Things like when recording, do you like take sound walks? Do you like prefer stable recordings? And also in post, because you also have a lot of experience in post. Do you need to manipulate your recordings when, of course, the project is right for that theme?
Yeah, I think it's really different when I work for the cinema industry or when I work for myself. And I really like to have those two approaches, because for the cinema, I prepare a lot ahead. I know like a theme or like what I'm looking for, and I choose places, and I'm like, okay, let's go here and stuff. And it's also super stressful, because after one day, if you didn't have the right weather, you're like, oh, it's very frustrating. So you're like, okay, I have a lot of, for example, one time I was working with the Atmos tree, like this 702, like the multi-channel tree that we developed in our studio, and with Greg, the partner I do this project with, we took like I don't know, like 1 hour 30 hike, like this super steep, and we arrived at the top, and we got this location to record wolves, and we're like, okay, maybe it's gonna happen, maybe not, or at least we will have a nice forest atmosphere, because we were kind of in a like hollow place, so we were kind of cut down from the valley and like from the city soundscape, from the mountains and stuff, and so we were kind of a bubble. And we arrived, and it was amazing. And after 5 minutes, there was like a military exercise with like those, like, you know, like jets like flying super low, and it was like chaos. We're like, oh my god! And so we recorded that, and then it was night, and it was starting to rain. It was like, oh no. So yeah, I mean, you can prepare as much as you want. Like at the end, it will just, I mean, it will just happen what will happen. So I kind of try to make my peace with this. Otherwise, I'm becoming crazy. And for this project in the south of France right now, I mean, I'm really at the beginning of it, but it's a place where I cannot go every day. It's not like next to my parents' home where I can just like walk and like just taking the right path next to the house. Now it's really, I have to plan everything, and I know that the recording time will be very short. And I would like to leave microphones for some weeks, like sampling it, sampling the soundscape, and to have like I don't know, like 30 minutes, and then 2 hours later 30 minutes, and to have kind of a more eco-acoustical way of working. But otherwise, I would really like to explore like the soils of those areas. So I'm now working with microphone that you can really dig in with different needles, and with different frequency response, like some geophones that are really more for the low frequency, but otherwise more contact microphone that you can modify to add some some needles on it, and then it has more like of a high frequency response. So I'm also looking for that. And otherwise, I think I'm going to record a lot of wind. I think I'm going to record a lot of like this false silence. And I think I will also take the liberty to perform some sounds. It's something that I've been doing a lot more in the artistic practice, to really touch some texture, like as touch can really reveal like a sonic component that makes you hear that it's wood or it's dirt or it's just like anything else, like the sound of touch is like highlighting this material. So I would like to perform certain gesture there and to record this as a foreground. And I always try to think, this is more maybe from a cinema background that I have that, but I always try to think my recordings in different foregrounds and backgrounds and to think them as like different scales. So to have like this very close foreground. Most of the time it's mono sounds or like very contact thingy where I know that I cannot mix it in the background. Then I have more like the habitats, like an ambience where it's very alive and it's a very you can localize a thing either in stereo or more. And then I have really the foreground and with omni, like for example large AB stuff where it's like really the background sounds with all the distant sound that is kind of putting you in a context. You are outside in an open area, or like you have some acoustic information into it, but at the same time it's a sound that will allow you to build connections in between all of that. So I try to bring as much as different grounds as possible to have flexibility when I edit. And for this project, it's not I would like to work on something that is not fixed, like not to have a beginning and an end, but like something that is alive. So I'm now looking at Maxim SP, Pure Data. Now I spend my day on Touch Designer, like looking at stuff. I'm exploring things. So but I'm really keen in learning tools that are kind of taking me away from like the linear sounds, basically, because this I already had some experience with it, and now I really want to experience something different.
Great.
Voilà. Sorry, I do very long answer. You tell me.
No. I like listening to all the details. And do you remember the first sounds? One of the first sounds you recorded early in your life?
I think really the first sound that I recorded was this piano sounds, like to keep a proof and to keep proof of like me playing this certain music and like to have trace of that. And I was really happy about that because once again my father did he had made he was really like in a technical thingy, and so he liked to make CD, and so we made a CD for the director of my school as a way to kind of say thank you. And I was so proud to have this trace and to think it as a way of rebellion, and to say, okay, you are not allowing me to play this music, but I play it anyway, and I offer you this gift. And I don't know, for me this gesture it kind of drove me afterwards to just do whatever you want, so yeah, I think it was the first sound, the sound of the piano, like inside.
Yeah. It's like also taking a stance in your future career, like I'm going to do things differently.
Yeah, and like no one can, yeah, it's a matter of freedom, but I was super lucky and privileged to have such parents, like to like showing me, like just giving me the means of doing it. But yeah, it was a super nice gift, more than the object itself of the recorder. Like now you could do it with your phone, but like to do this gesture of like affirmation of oneself through the recording.
Great. Which reminds me, I like asking these two questions and just pick one you like or both. So, of course, in our profession, which microphones do you not prefer, because it changes from project to project, but which microphones, which type of microphones, not brands, are close to your heart? Which do you really feel joy when you're recording with it? And also, the other question would be, if you were a microphone, what type of a microphone you would like to be?
I started to play with bad detectors. I don't know if you played with this already, but this is crazy. Like it's when I use it like live, like just without recording or anything, but just like to how do you call this, like when you put high the volume on the bad recorder and bad detector, and that you're listening to the echolocation, like when you hear those clicks that are completely unhearable with our bare ears, and when you have this and you listen live with this heterodyne thingy, it's just for me this is really magical. And I don't know anything about that. I mean, I know some stuff compared to everyone, but it's super magical. Like I don't know which species is doing what. I don't understand exactly how it's. I mean, I understand how it's working and stuff, but still, it's Sheba. It has something that is really like showing that we don't own the soundscape, that our ears are just human ears, and there are a lot of diversity in all those way of listening, and this small device is just allowing you to make the experience of acknowledging it in real time, and I really like that.
Lovely.
So I don't know if I would be a bad detector, but because it's not every day that you're using it, so
So you would like to be more handy and in the center.
yeah.
Great. I also interviewed Marta Mutiso before, and she also talked about this bad detectors, and she was also very like excited with the experience.
Yeah, it's so great. I mean, and they are very different bad detectors, also like very different technologies. Some are really slowing down the sound, some is just like this like frequency plus minus stuff. I mean, you can listen to very different ways as well. So, and there are DIY bad detectors. I recently participated to a workshop where we were soldering ourselves, and it was really accessible as well. It's not working super fine, but it's working, and the magic is here, so it's okay.
Yeah, lovely. And can you also talk with me about like being a woman in sound, in audio, and so what has helped you to flourish as a woman in audio industry, and maybe any recommendations you would give to both the newcomers and also maybe the seasoned professionals in audio?
Well, it's true that when I was in school, we were like 16 and we were only two girls, and it was before Me Too, and I have to say that it was not so fun. That's why the exchange in Switzerland, for me, it was like a moment of freedom because of this as well. And I don't know, I think I forbid myself to do a lot of things, or I don't know, I'm super passionate about what I'm doing. And I just realized that, for example, in my class, we are now two, like the two girls are doing the PhD. Like I was like, hey, are we still looking for validation, like more diploma to do what we are doing? Like, I don't, probably it's not that, but like unconsciously, I was like, what the fuck? We are the only two ones doing that. Actually, no, it's not true because now there is another guy doing PhD. But whatever, I was just like, it's crazy that we always need more like tampon on our CV to say like it's okay, you can do your job. So, but now I always try like to like sorority for me is super important. And I always try, for example, when I cannot work, I always try to give this work to another sound girl, like some women or non-binary person, or like people that you don't see in the field. Like it's to just encourage ourselves. And I think this network of of women is super important because that's how we support ourselves, and it's so precious. So I don't know if there are other stuff to say, but yeah, I think, I mean, sometimes people don't realize, like when I'm outside alone with my microphones, like for me it's kind of a revolutionary thing, like to be in the forest. And I mean, the first time I was so scared, to be alone. Like you have all of this, you have the night, you have wild, you have like, but at the end I was like, what am I really afraid of? Like, and I was just afraid of like seeing a guy in the boots. Like it's crazy. But at the same time, like Bumpo is a great is a great fight tool. So I don't know. I really like the confidence of being alone in the field is really, it's taking time, but more you're doing it, more you feel legitimate in doing it. And if it's something that is like when you are doing it, if you feel so good, like you should continue no matter what, because it's at the end it's about being happy. So yeah, that's what I try to say to myself.
It's the first part of what you said resonated with me. I hear a lot from women and also myself that we need to be prepared and ready for every knowledge we may need, like have the knowledge to solve every problem that can occur. I think it's also a maybe I'm just assuming it's a female thing as well. Like we're kind of geared to be ready for everything, and some of the diplomas we keep on getting is also because of that. And it reminds me, 2 years ago, we did a workshop for the young women in audio in Turkey. And they also said the same thing, that they don't feel prepared to go out and experiment or like take the lead because they think they need more time. They need to be more seasoned to actually claim something. And then we decided it's a trap. So we need to find our way doing things and leading things and just getting out there and learning from everyone, women, men, who can help us. So also actively asking for help and not being ashamed of it came out as a theme. Also in this workshop, And it's in the end, one of the main obstacles we find is ourselves. That's holding us back from progress, from taking new opportunities, etc. So, especially as a young woman in audio, it's important to hear that from you too.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's exactly what you said, like this not feeling legitimate, like never. and I mean, it's crazy that sometimes I see in some project, like for example, I say no to do a certain type of job, but I still see the person doing it, being aside and doing something else. And I see how the person is doing it, and I'm like, no, okay, but I'm super capable of doing what he's doing. Like, it's,
Yeah,
and you put so much like a high expectation, or like the level needs to be so high, and otherwise you don't feel like you can do it, but you can. Because otherwise there are a lot of guys where the levels, like their expectation might be lower, that will do it and not you. So it's
yeah,
not all the time like this, I don't know. But I was just like, okay, wow, this was a mental barrier I had, like, for myself.
for
Yeah,
sure, for
it's
sure.
crazy.
But just to be
It's so cool
aware
that
of
you're
it,
doing
is
those
it?
workshops.
Ah,
I
yeah.
would love to participate to it.
Yeah, sure. So the next one we want to do a hybrid, like online, like physical attendance and also connection from all over the world. It was really impactful, and we're looking for funding to continue doing that.
Mm,
Once we get
cool.
that, we're going to do that again. Because there were so many people who we couldn't bring in because it was physical workshop. But we had like people connecting from US, Europe, etc., who also volunteered to be mentors for these women as well, which is great, which really helped. Because also Turkey is not the center of field recording and music as a like an expertise, a global expertise. So you need to cross like a lot of different barriers to get your exposure to the world, the new technologies and everything. So it was great. I'll keep you in mind as well, both as a speaker and also a participant, because in the end, you become also a participant when you're a speaker. I learned a
Wow.
lot. I
Yeah,
learned a lot. There was
sounds
this
wonderful.
Esin. She's a composer in US, working for a lot of Hollywood films, big productions, and she also gave a lot of inspiration to all of us, bringing a different perspective. And yeah, I hope to do that again. And so, linking that to your future aspirations, I'm sure you have a lot of projects, ideas you have in mind. But like, what are some of the things you definitely want to do going forward?
uh, I mean, I want to continue with sound installation, and to really like bring listening experiences to people. That's what I'm really looking for, and also experimenting with like this scenography, because I mean, I know how to be in the field, but I have so many things to learn, of like how to bring those sounds and those aspects of listening into another room, which might not be a concert, which might not be a film, which might be something a bit in between. And now I'm really keen in learning and experimenting with those kind of settings. Yeah, but I mean, I still love to continue working for others, for artists, for cinema, like for cinema people. But yeah, I really like this in between place, and I kind of want to continue being in it. So There is one dream that I have that normally if everything goes well, I will experience this for real. Is for my PhD, I'm doing a bioacoustic internship in a place in a lab which is specialized in monitoring the cetacean activity in the archipelagos of the Canary Islands. And so I never heard dolphins and whales, and I really want to hear them one day and be like and to contribute to like scientific research in this area. So yeah, normally I'm going in January 2026. So I hope that everything will go well and that I will be able to listen to them. Yeah.
Lovely. Please keep me posted on that too.
Yes.
Great. So I think we're nearing closing. I have this tradition of asking you one of the questions of my previous guests that they left a question for you, but they didn't know who it was for. So my previous guest had a question which she found like really intriguing for herself. She was into describing sounds. So she's not a field recordist. She's a researcher and sociologist, actually, but she likes recording sounds and working with sound. And she said she's having difficulty of describing sounds apart from the technical jargon, let's say. So she left a question like, what's like a sound you like or dislike, or a very unusual sound you recorded, or a beautiful sound you recorded, and how you would describe it in terms of like what is its shape, what's its color, does it taste like anything, does it smell like anything? Can you think of anything like that?
So about this unusual sound, there is one recording that I really keep in mind, which is the recording of how do you call this in English? Jellyfish.
Yeah.
On a beach that that beached, and I was walking with a Grégoire again, and I heard some very like light pops and like small like growling textures, and I was like, what is that? And I didn't even see the jellyfish, and it was at night, and so I look it up with the flashlight, and I saw like thousands and thousands of like those sand fleas,
Yeah. Yeah.
that were jumping all around and like eating the jellyfish.
Oh my
And
God.
so I got some hydrophones directly in her body, in his body, and I heard the pops of like all those little sand fleas like walking around and like jumping on the cable, and it was so weird because I was like wearing my recorder and I had those hydrophone, and it felt like my body was connecting to the jellyfish body, and I felt like really like an extension like an extension of myself in like this deadly scene. And I don't know, it felt so weird, and I was hearing it with like my earphones, and I was walking a bit around it and hearing like this of like the footsteps on the sand, and we hear the sea also, like the seashore on the, and it has a certain rhythm, and it's so alive, but it's also like this life that comes after death. And I don't know, I have this memory of like being transformed, like my body was transformed into this jellyfish. And
So it's like an
and
embodiment of the sound, right?
it's like an extension of your body. And yeah, the sound is the body itself. It's highlighting also the cable, like this mix between an organic body and like a technical body and another body and the sea and the sand. I don't know, it was really like this mix of everything. And so I don't know if it has a taste or a smell, but it's really linked to this feeling of the sea, like of the salt, of the wind, of, like, when it's like everything is a bit like and
Very sensual, yeah.
ouais, voilà. And should I give a question to
Yes,
to the
please.
next?
Yes. A question for my next guest.
Because, okay, I was thinking, but maybe it really doesn't, like, maybe I'm doing such a big deal about it, but people maybe don't care. Maybe you don't care at all if you really like urban sounds. But like for me, I don't know how to deal with what we call noise, or like the technophony, when I'm in what is supposed to be like a biophonic or like natural area, and like how to deal, basically what to do with like airplane sound, like what to do with it, should we name it, should we keep it, should we highlight it, should we delete, I don't know. And I think we all have, depending on the project, we all have different ways of like working with such super clean. What is clean? Like, I don't know how this person will deal with this problem. Voilà.
Exactly. And it's a never-ending problem.
Yeah.
I find myself checking all the flight schedules when I'm trying to record in a quiet place. So people are amazed that I'm aware of the flight schedules if I'm trying to do a pure recording.
And how is the situation in Turkey actually? Like,
Oh my
because
God,
Turkey
in
is so big.
Turkey is so big, but there are really very like few places which are out of the routes of planes, because it's also like a global what do you call, transfer hub for connecting flights.
Yeah.
And so apart from like the inbound flights, there are so many flights passing by. So it's really, really like a part of the nature now. So you need to do very good planning if you want to leave them out. But as you said, most of the time we have like a mix of nature and urban sounds in a lot of recordings. For example, my business partner Enis is he's working on a very special project called the Quiet Places of Anatolia. And he's after those like pure, quiet ambiances. And he has a lot of like intersections of a very rare bird calling, looking for a mate, and a flight passing by at the same time. So it's such a both dystopian sound, but also very impressive sound. So more and more he needs to go after juxtaposing those sounds and making art out of that.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to send you that sound. It's also in Earth FM, I think.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Lovely. So we have our question for our guest too. It's a great question. Thank you so much. Is there anything you want to add to our chat?
No, I mean, I think we could talk more, but I know also the format of of your podcast. So no, I think it's cool like this. I think I already shared some stuff. So
Okay, great.
so yeah, Thank you so much.
Thank you too. It's really exciting to hear your projects, and I am sure you will have even more exciting projects to come. And I can't wait to see more of your work. Thank you so much for sharing it openly and from your hearts. And I hope to repeat this again after a while.
Yeah, thank you so much. And have a nice evening, and all the best for the projects and the libraries as well.
Thank you. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.